Hello, it's David Walsh from the Secret Sandland Local History page. This video that I'm doing today is about an area called Ecclesfield. Now, I don't know about you, but I find it absolutely fascinating that there was once an area of Southport called Ecclesfield. And I first heard the name Ecclesfield in 2009, around 2009, when I was bought a book for Christmas, Southport, a History by Harry Foster. And then fast forward to 2012, and there was he published another book called Southport's in the Suburbs, and there was a whole chapter devoted to the area of Ecclesfield, which I found absolutely fascinating. And then about a year after that, I started to research Ecclesfield in greater detail, and that led to me publishing my own book, Ecclesfield, Southport's Forgotten Suburbs, in 2023. Some of you may have a copy of that. So I'm going to talk to you about how some of the parts of the book, and point out some sites on Little Loop that we're going to do today. So we're on Hart Street here. This is roughly the site, the corner of Park Street and Duke Street. This is roughly the site of where one of Henry Eccles' farms was. It was actually the first farm that him and his wife Jane Eccles moved to. Henry was originally from Ainsdale, and he married into the Ball family of South Hawes. Jane was a member of the Ball family, and then they lived in Ainsdale, they lived in Birkdale, and then eventually they moved to a farmhouse which used to stand here. And you can see this farmhouse, if you go back to 1736, you can make out the farmhouse on a map, and it's called John Ball Blackfield. And John Ball was Jane's great grandfather, and essentially the land, there was a narrow strip of land which stretched from roughly here all the way to Snuttering Lane, which is where the former George pub would be, that area. So all the fields in this area, stretching all the way to Snuttering Lane. These were the fields which were previously farmed by the Ball family, and then later Henry Eccles. So they were essentially Henry Eccles' fields, and that's where the name Ecclesfield comes from. There were one of the reasons that I started researching Ecclesfield in more detail was that there was a paragraph in Foster's book that stated there is some ambiguity about the location of Eccles Farm. Well, that's probably right, because there was more than just one farm. In the book I highlight 4 of the farms. There were more. There was, in the 20th century, the Eccles family had one on Boundary Street. So in the book I show various where all the farms were. There was another one on where St Paul, on Talbot Street, as I've described in my earlier video about the River Nile. And then there was another farm on what is now the corner of Hampton Road and Duke Street. But as we walk, we're just approaching the railway crossing here. We're going to go to a couple more points within Ecclesfield that I talk about in the book. Okay, so I'm now stood outside 93 Railway Street, which is the former house of first coxswain of the Eliza Fernley lifeboat on that fateful night, 9th and 10th of December 1886. 10 of the 14 Southport lifeboatmen lived in Ecclesfield. Henry Robinson lived on Boundary Street. He was one of the survivors, of course. And as I said, 10 of them lived in Ecclesfield. And Charles Hodge's house was there, as we've just shown you. Charles Hodge was the coxswain of the Eliza Fernley lifeboat from 1874 until 1886. He was born in 1825, lived in King's Buildings on Lord Street. He also lived on Upper King Street, and he was involved. He was a fisherman. He went out to sea as a young boy with his family. And as I said, the 10 of the crew came from Ecclesfield. It was a very poor area. They were all fishermen, and they were working on. They're volunteering for the lifeboat to try and earn just a bit of extra money. We're going to continue on Railway Street just to another building which is in the book. So we're back on Railway Street, just approaching a building that I'm sure many of you have seen and recognise when going past on the train, or if you're coming down here in a car or on foot. And of course it's this building behind me. People call it the Clock Tower building. This was actually Plum Tree's potted meat factory from around 1901. So it was built on the site of numbers 13 and 15 Railway Street. The original numbers 13 and 15, which were demolished about 1901. And as I said, William Plum Tree built his factory here. So Plum Tree moved to Southport in the late 1870s from Derbyshire. He was originally in in the Royal Arcade opposite to the Prince of Wales, and then he moved to he lived on 164 Portland Street, and then he moved the production side of his potted meat business to the rear of numbers 13 and 15, which was a former basket making business. And then he decided to demolish numbers 13 and 15 and then build this property in about 1901. But how many of you know the link to this building, and obviously Plum Tree's potted meats, to James Joyce's novel Ulysses, which of course uses the Plum Tree brand within the novel. I believe fans of the book hold a celebration every day in June called I think it's called Bloomsday. Of course, Plum Tree's potted meats is a big part of the book. But how many of you knew that it's links to the Ecclesfield area of Southport? We're just going to walk round the corner now. We're coming into Bannister Road, which was originally called Boundary Street. Railway Street, which we're on now, was originally called Railway Terrace as well. But we're going to walk down Bannister Road to the corner of Fernley Road. I want to talk about the former chapel on the corner there. So I'm now back on at the junction of Bannister Road and Fernley Road. Behind me is what was originally known as the Ecclesfield Chapel, which was built in 1861. The houses in this area on Railway Street, what's now Bannister Road, and Shakespeare Street, they were the first houses to be built in this area. So houses were built from around the late 1850s. There's only 3 streets shown in the 1861 census. And on a map of 1868, the entrance to what is now Fernley Road, there was 2 houses here, and they were actually demolished in around 1871. to connect this road, which was to the road down here, which was originally called Fisher Road or Fisher Lane, which was on the Birkdale side of the boundary. It was also called School Street, very briefly. Certainly called School Street in the 1868 directory, and that's because there was a school church built down here by St Paul's Church to serve the Ecclesfield area. So, as I said, originally Fisher Lane just came from Birkdale, and it wasn't until the houses at that junction were demolished in about 1871 that this road was connected. Ecclesfield's quite interesting because although it began in Southport, it actually straddled the Birkdale boundary. We're just coming into Birkdale now. Of course, this is Grove Street here behind me, and it's in Grove Street where houses were built as part of the Ecclesfield area, inland of the railway. So we're coming to the end of my little short loop around Ecclesfield. We're just on the Fernley Road, Upper Orton Road junction here. So hope you've enjoyed the short video today. The book did sell out in 2023, but I've got some good news for you today because I'm actually launching it as an ebook today. So if you wanted to, if you missed out in 2023 or you've never heard of Ecclesfield before, you can be able to purchase it in ebook form. I'll put links up on all my social media pages. Please subscribe to the page on YouTube. Keep following me on Facebook, X, now on Instagram. Haven't got a clue how to work it, but never mind, we'll keep going. Yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks very much.